con The Council. Como ya dije la semana pasada, seguramente esta semana traería un nuevo capítulo. Así que, pues eso, aquí estamos.
You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible. Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet.
I do apologize for being late. I was obliged to clear up some urgent business.
At last we meet, Monsieur de Richet. Do you mind if I call you Louis?
Please do.
Thank you. I wish to apologize wholeheartedly, Louis. I made you cross the seas, and I wasn't even here to welcome you. When I asked you to join us here, it was, of course, in the hope that you would help us find your mother. However, there may be some new developments, but I don't know if they are linked to your mother. We have found Elizabeth Adams' body in her room. I'm afraid she was brutally murdered, stabbed several times.
Who could have done it?
That is precisely what I would like you to help us determine, Louis. Duchess Hillsborough informed us that she accompanied you at the beginning of the evening. You apparently bumped into Miss Adams, who wanted to speak to you. We are told you turned her away, and she went away on her own.
That's correct.
Do you know what she wanted to see you about, by any chance?
Not in the least.
Pity. The poor child was probably trying to find help.
I thought it could wait until tomorrow.
Apparently not.
Louis, I shan't hide the fact that this tragedy puts me in a very delicate situation. I cannot risk upsetting the smooth operation of our next conference. But the case cannot remain unaddressed.
I understand. What do you intend to do?
I must reassure my guests, and justice will be done. And for that to happen, I must ask for your help.
Why is that?
You met Elizabeth. You spoke together, I believe. She trusted you. Listen, Louis. Find out who could have committed this murder. I refuse to believe that one of my guests is the murderer. I want to know who is responsible for this. And I trust you. You have my backing. You must stop at nothing. Can I count on you?
Of course. How would you like me to proceed?
Maybe you would start by going to the scene of the crime. Elizabeth was attacked in her room.
Can you tell me anything else about what happened?
Now, Louis, I wouldn't want to influence you. Get over there and form your own opinion.
Este tonto, el pobre este.
Do you have any suspects in mind, my lord?
I spent most of the night talking with Sir Gregory and His Eminence Piaggi. So I think you can remove them from the list of suspects. Monsieur Bonaparte and President Washington left the party after midnight, I believe. They were tired and went up to bed.
Right. I'll get over there immediately.
Thank you, Louis. Now, once you've finished, come back and let me know your findings. I'll be waiting. And Louis, You've got permission to search through the guests' rooms. They've all been notified and they agree.
Coño. Esto es. A ver, este.
Your Eminence, I imagine that you've heard the news about Miss Adams.
What a tragedy, my son. How could such a thing have happened?
That's exactly what I'm trying to find out. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary last night?
I saw the young French soldier, Bonaparte, I believe, hanging around near Miss Adams' room. But I would not want to get an innocent man into trouble. It's probably nothing.
¿Ha sido ese o el otro que la pegaba?
Not to worry,
Yo
Your
creo.
Eminence. If he is innocent, then he has nothing to fear. Do you know why Monsieur Bonaparte was hanging around her room like that?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that the dashing young soldier had become infatuated with a fragile young woman who looked a bit lost. But I don't think he got a very warm welcome.
Bonaparte and Adams? But they didn't even know each other, did they?
I couldn't say. But if I were you, my son, I would talk to Monsieur.
Ese, pero ese es un
You
cabrón.
remember how violently he set upon Miss Adams.
Oh, don't worry. He's on the list of suspects. I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
I'll be in touch as soon as I have any more information.
Vale, investiguemos. Está aquí en esta habitación. Bueno, no se puede.
Monsieur Johann van Vulner. Ya que es Perú, este es el su normal ese.
What do you want from me, Directito?
Greetings. It's fallen to me
Cut the
that...
crap! Get to the point. We both know why you're here.
Bueno,
And
este.
have you got anything to tell me?
What does it matter? It's too late anyway. Do what you have to do and get out. All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. Goodbye, sir. We shall meet again.
Probably.
A pattern with 4 circles. Dear Mr.Felixpr, I'm writing to thank you for the funds you sent. These funds will be crucial for the renovation of the western wing of the orphanage. The children you sent are doing marvelously well, and little Pierre will soon be walking. Some of them still sometimes suffer nightmares about their parents on the scaffold.
I have no space left.
Dear Mr.
I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later.
Great, honey. Golden elixir. I'll keep it for later.
Dear friend, please come and join us. We must meet about the ongoing operations in Paris. A boat will be waiting for you in...
Records of the police. Notes intended for the police lieutenant of Paris. It's a list of people under surveillance in Paris. And there's some well-known names on it. This is valuable information. This shouldn't be lying around. The Massacre of the Innocents by Rubens. A big gloom. Guess my room is not that bad.
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. I'd like to talk about the letter you're writing. What woman is it addressed to?
Who says it's a woman? I'm not saying any more. There's no point you insisting.
It's a beautiful weapon. A lovely damask blade. It's more, my dearest son. I'm writing to implore you to act quickly. The situation is rapidly worsening here. Paoli continues to steer our motherland, Corsica, toward open warfare between France and England. His men are everywhere. We are obliged to go into hiding and are unable. A bicorn decorated with a cockade. It must belong to a French soldier. The Prince by Machiavelli. A perfect read for anyone with a surfeit of ambition. That might come in handy. Golden elixir. Vercingetorix throws down his arms at the feet of Julius Caesar by Royer.
As previously agreed, I would like to ask you to join us in January on my island to participate in the High Society meeting organized for the occasion.
There's just one holster in Bonaparte's gear, and the pistol is missing. On the other hand, his cleaning equipment is in mint condition. That's typical of the soldier in him. A bicorn decorated with a cockade. It must belong to a French soldier. Duchess Emily Hillsborough.
Nuestra compañera de compañía.
Dear, I received your last letter. Unfortunately, the Crown informed the Golden Order that our mission should under no circumstances hamper Sir Gregory's plans. Decidedly, they have support from the highest level in Buckingham Palace. So here we both are, hands and feet tied, and little room to maneuver. Keep me abreast of events. Our mission is becoming more complicated. Yours.
Grammar of Port-Royal. Ah, the artistry of the French language in all its splendor. Whoever masters French commands the world. At least une partie of it.
Está aquí, nuestro amigo.
What can I do for you, Louis?
I've come to see you about last night's tragedy. Did you hear anything about what happened to Elizabeth?
Yes, we all did. Rumors spread quickly, you know. How awful. I didn't know her well, but I hope at least the poor thing didn't suffer too much.
Elizabeth was stabbed 9 times. No doubt she suffered greatly.
9 times? What monster is capable of such a horrible thing? Do you know what happened exactly?
In fact, Lord Mortimer has asked me to look into this case, Emily.
Really? Are you Lord Mortimer's snoop now?
I'm doing it for Elizabeth, not to please Mortimer.
Good for you. Quite right, too. Have you found out anything?
Did you and Elizabeth get to know each other?
I must admit, Louis, I didn't take much interest in her. I feel a bit guilty about it, but I never actually spoke to her. She seemed burdened by her problems, and as she wasn't invited to the conference, I didn't really seek her out.
I won't keep you, Emily. Thank you for answering my questions.
See you, Louis.
A letter from William Pitt the Younger, addressed to Emily. He's the present Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Emily has indeed some powerful backers. Madam. A letter from William Pitt the Elder, addressed to Emily. 2 coils circle the lock.
Dear Gregory, thank you for the information. I've managed to find out about the names you gave me. George Washington is a man you can trust. In spite of his obvious talent for politics, he has remained upright and honest. On the other hand, as you may well know, he is already doing business with Lord Mortimer. It will be more difficult to approach him. Napoleon Bonaparte was unknown to me until today. He's a
I
passionate...
have no space left. I'll retrieve it later.
Duke Manuel Godoy.
Eso todavía no está. Aquí George Washington, creo, ¿no?
Huh, that's me.
Ah, no, Ruiz tampoco está este. Ah, bueno, si soy yo, ¿qué coño?
Monseigneur His Eminence Cardinal Biaggi. President George Washington.
My dear George, I'd like to invite you to join me as planned at my place. I have a project to show you. It is time that the United States played a more important role.
It looks like a note between Emily and Washington about trade deals.
Voy a registrar todo y después ya le pregunto.
Greetings, Louis.
Mr. President, you can guess why I'm here.
Of course.
Lord Mortimer has sent me to ask you a few questions about last night.
It's... How am I going to tell Elizabeth's father that she's dead?
I know, Mr. President. I shall endeavor to find out the truth about this tragedy. I must ask you to help me, though. Please.
Find the degenerate pig who did this, Louis.
Tell me, Mr. President, had you spoken to Elizabeth since your arrival? You know her father. You thought she was dead.
No, I didn't. And I believe I'll be taking my remorse with me to my grave. I wanted to, but I didn't know where to begin.
You can't blame yourself. You couldn't have known that her days were numbered. Do you know if she had any enemies, Mr. President?
Not that I know of. I heard about her altercation with Mr.Felixpr, but that case was closed if I'm not mistaken. But if in doubt, I wouldn't leave any door unopened. And I'd go and question your fellow countrymen.
Don't worry. Countryman or not, I'm not letting anybody slip through the cracks. Do you know why she came to the island?
To get help, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right?
Indeed. Sir Gregory suggested to her father that he introduce her to Lord Mortimer to see if he could help her.
Yes, Lord Mortimer has a talent for healing, apparently. I'm not surprised Sir Gregory advised her to come.
Agreed. I shan't keep you any longer, Mr. President.
Feel free, Louis. If there's anything I can do, just ask.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yo creo que va a ser el Perú ese. O es que tampoco puede ser ese. A lo mejor te hacen que pienses que es ese y no es ese.
Monsieur de Richet.
Mr. Volner, are you looking for anything in particular? Next to Elizabeth's room?
Nothing special.
I'd have thought this is not really the shortest way to get to your suite.
Yes, I wasn't really looking where I was going. I shall leave you now, sir. I will return to my room.
Bueno, este tío también es sospechoso, porque se intenta quitar de encima las culpas.
blood on the right hand. Nothing on the left except that tattooed symbol. This pinnacle is a trap. The wearers of the pinnacle thought that they were protected from evil by surrounding it inside the different circles of the pinnacle. Blood, but no trace of blows on the legs. More tattoos, similar to those on the rest of her body. I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The only clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. Poor Elizabeth, she must have been very young when she went through all that. That's torture. She also has old scars around the neck, maybe mutilations. She bled from the nose. What a strange smell. There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars. The scars are superficial and were made several years ago. She wasn't trying to take her own life. Scarring, ugh. Scarring isn't very regular, but they're mostly from old cuts. Symbol of Masons? What's that doing here? She had the Sigillum de Ameth tattooed on her. The symbol of the living God. Written in the language of angels, according to believers. It is rare for someone to know about symbols like this at her age. Unless her mother was a tutor. I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax, with a lot of blood. At first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death. Some of these tattoos are veritable works of... What's that? The skin between her breasts is different. Bloody hell! This tattoo was drawn on a page of leather and stitched onto her skin. Probably during childhood. If the scars are anything to go by. It's the same kind of tattoo as on the rest of her body. Poor girl bled to death. Whoever left that footprint has boats for feet. That's at least a size 15. Where's a size like that here? Peru? Washington, maybe. The blade is short and thin. Well sharpened, apparently. It's covered in blood. Still fresh. The lower part of the handle is unsullied by blood. The murderer gripped the weapon so tight that there's no blood where he held it. The handprint indicates a small and slender hand. Knocked over bottle of wine. Plunk is that? Hey, it's a Bordeaux. That's a Chateau de Bouillon. It's a great wine. I don't know what's happened to this wine, but it's undrinkable.
blood spatter indicates that the murderer must have held Elizabeth upright during the attack. Even if Elizabeth wasn't very big, I doubt she wouldn't have put up a struggle. It takes tremendous strength to overpower someone like that. Vials of laudanum. Large quantities could knock out a bull. Could Elizabeth have been drugged? If the body wounds are anything to go by, then clearly not. She put up a fierce fight. The label shows that this laudanum comes straight from America. I wonder if Washington's involved. Honey, I couldn't have hoped for better. A pentagram? What the hell's been going on here? Contrary to what most people believe, a pentagram's not there to conjure up, I don't know what evil or demonic creature. With the point toward the top, the pentagram is an ancient symbol of protection against evil. Many esoteric rituals are based on this shape. Could Elizabeth have been sacrificed during an occult ritual? Clock stopped at 3:54. If it was smashed during the murder, then I've just established the time of the crime. That would clear everyone de facto because she was still with me at the time. A notebook, written in Elizabeth's handwriting. It is written in a mix of several languages. It's medieval Latin. Well, enough to translate a bit. He's coming. The demon is upon me. He's coming back to kill me. There she is. Death has come to finish me off. Just running into her son. That was her last entry. What tortured writing.
Pues la verdad que sí, atormentado, joder.
June 11th, 1791.
Bueno, esto ya lo vimos en su momento.
1792.
Eso también.
Piece of fabric. High quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture and the gray hue, it must come from a dress, that kind that women of quality wear.
A ver.
I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. Poor Elizabeth, she must have been very young when she went through all that. That's torture. She also has old scars around the neck, maybe mutilations. What a strange smell. The breath smells of alcohol and of laudanum. People use it to relieve pain. Laudanum. Certain courtiers use it to get drunk. If taken in large quantities, it can provoke fits of madness. She bled from the nose. signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. There's signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax, with a lot of blood. On first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death. The wounds are clean and look like they've been inflicted by a sharp object. Some of the lacerations have damaged vital organs, the heart, the right lung, which is perforated. Most of them weren't given with much force. She might even have survived. But the stab in the heart, though not all that deep, sealed her fate.
Vale, vámonos para afuera. A ver, ¿y este qué hace aquí?
My dear Elizabeth, I'm writing to inform you of some unfortunate news. We won't be able to meet as planned on the first Sunday of May. I've been told that you're no better, and unfortunate.
Este qué hace aquí.
Has Sam finished with this room?
Do you know who could have made such a mess of this room?
Miss Adams, sir. We were given orders to leave the room as it was, so as not to rush her.
Did she have a fight with someone to get the room into this state?
Not that I know of, sir. Miss Adams would sometimes throw a tantrum, during which she would destroy anything that came to hand. Lord Mortimer told us not to enter the room.
Thanks for that information.
You are welcome, sir. Has Sir finished with
I
this
know
room?
enough now. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Sir may return whenever need be. I shall guard the door.
¿Por aquí o por el otro lado? Ahora lo vemos.
President George Washington.
George Washington, pues sí, por el otro lado.
Monsieur Johann van Vulner.
A ver este gilipollas que estaba por ahí.
A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
A ver,
If I'm
venga.
not mistaken, Paracelsus named the element called zinc.
Amber.
What can I do for you, Directito?
Monsieur, Lord Mortimer has appointed me to investigate the tragedy that befell us last night.
Oh, yes. It's horrible. Yes. How can I help, Monsieur?
Did you see how many tattoos Miss Adams had on her?
Of course. Who wouldn't have noticed?
Yes, but I'm sure that an expert like yourself must have an opinion on the subject.
I do. She was seeking to imprison something inside her. Her own body had become a sort of prison.
She wanted to protect herself. Is that what you're saying?
Elizabeth was a flame. A candle in the night. And like all candles in the night, she was surrounded by darkness, by her demons. Call it what you will. One thing is for sure. She struggled against hell and high water not to let her flame go out.
Where were you last night?
In my room. I read a few ancient manuscripts before going to bed. But I didn't stay up long. I was tired.
Thank you kindly. We finished. I'll have a look around and then take my leave.
Do whatever you have to do.
The Sorrows of Young Werther. There's a handwritten text signed by von Werner on this first page. Dear Elizabeth, I know that this book is but a small token compared to the delightful moments you gave me, but I hope that this will nonetheless keep the memory alive. Your ever-obedient servant. So, Werner had a relationship with Elizabeth. But that's hardly surprising given his fondness for the occult.
Vale, este no creo que sea.
Golden elixir.
Mira, pero otra vez al tonto las tres este. Que nos habla mal. El Perú este. No sé por qué me da que este tiene algo importante.
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. I know you were at the scene. We will save a lot of time if you just tell me what happened.
You know nothing at all.
Enlighten me then. For now, I have your footprint in a pool of blood.
That's right. The only thing you can prove is one of my boots was at the scene. Congratulations. You've wrapped up the investigation.
Se va a acabar este. Déjame de preguntarte.
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. 2 days ago, I surprised you having a go at Miss Adams. What happened? Did you want to give her another beating? She wouldn't let you push her around again, huh?
Shut up, you little shit! You have no idea what happened, and here you are, carping away. You think you're Investigator of the Year. Have you taken a look at yourself, Deriche?
Didn't you get enough beating her black and blue the last time?
I did not!
Go on. Keep going.
Finish what you came to do, then get out of my room.
A ver.
Let's get right to it. Are you Elizabeth Adams' murderer?
That is for you to prove, if I'm not mistaken, boy. You weren't expecting me to do all the legwork for you, were you?
Goodbye, sir. We shall meet again.
Probably.
Dear I have no space left. The Massacre of the Innocents, but by Van Harlem. I think that Mortimer likes to play mind games with his guests. Great. Honey.
Dear friend,
The Massacre of the Innocents, but by Van Harlem. I think that Mortimer likes to play mind games with his guests.
Un segundillo, chicos. Ya está aquí, chicos. Vale. Pues... ya está todo más que visto. George Washington, ¿dónde? Aquí este me ha venido. Esta es mi habitación. El cardenal. Y aquí está la George Washington. Vale, vamos a hablar con él.
Greetings, Louis.
I'm talking to all the guests to find out who has an alibi and, well, who doesn't, Mr. President. Can you tell me what you were doing last night so that I can strike your name off the list?
I spent the night right here, reading.
All night?
Exactly. Emily stopped by in the middle of the night, you can ask her. She wanted to talk about some business we have in common.
Anything whatsoever to do with Elizabeth?
Not at all, Louis. A business matter.
Are you all right, Mr. President? Are you feeling all right?
Oh, don't worry. It's this rotten toothache. What do you expect? I'm no spring chicken now.
Were you aware that Elizabeth took laudanum?
Yes. She came to ask me for some. She had finished her reserve, I believe.
Do you take it regularly, Mr. President?
Unfortunately, I do, Louis. I still suffer from a terrible toothache, and it's not likely to get any better.
It's just for that, then?
Old age, my young friend. I don't wish it upon you, but you'll soon see. At my age, it's rare to have no problems in that domain.
And do you take a lot?
A moderate amount, Louis. Only the dosage indicated on the prescription of my doctor.
Tell me, Mr. President, had you spoken to Elizabeth since your arrival? You know her father. You thought she was dead.
No, I didn't. And I believe I'll be taking my remorse with me to my grave. I wanted to, but I didn't know where to begin.
You can't blame yourself. You couldn't have known that her days were numbered.
Algo más.
Mr. President, we found a footprint at the scene of the crime.
Not a dress shoe, I hope. That's all I wear.
No, rest assured. It looks like the print of a big ankle boot. A large size, I'd say.
Perfect. That should help you, Louis. It's a clue.
Pues ya está. Vamos para arriba. Vamos a entrar aquí, a ver si podemos ver lo de la chica esta en cuanto al zapato.
Poor girl bled to death. Whoever left that footprint has boats for feet. That's at least a size 15. Where's a size like that here? Peru? Washington, maybe.
Vale, pues no. Pues voy para arriba. A ver qué escaleras para subir. Aquí creo, ¿no? Sí.
nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781. I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
Will you remind me of the facts we already know about?
Elizabeth Adams was killed last night, but Yarji was with Holm and I until late at night. As for Bonaparte and Washington, they left us after midnight, both tired.
A ver.
I believe I've identified the murderer.
Really, Louis? All right then. Please think carefully before you give me your answer. This is a very, very serious accusation.
I'm going to need a bit more time to review my findings about the crime.
I do understand. All the more so as it's crucial not to make any mistakes when it comes to naming the culprit.
Vale, pues vamos a ver si nos hemos dejado una habitación porque... A ver... Me dice todavía investiga la muerte de Adams. Ahora no nos hemos dejado. ¿Qué está haciendo aquí? Está cerrado. No sé, yo creo que si ya que Espero, pues es que ya hemos buscado todo, es decir, hemos hablado con todo el mundo ya.
I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
A ver. Un segundo.
I believe I've identified the murderer.
Really, Louis? All right then. Please think carefully before you give me your answer. This is a very, very serious accusation.
would appear that Mr.Felixpr is the culprit.
What proof do you have against him?
I found a footprint in the victim's blood. The size corresponds to a very tall man.
That's certainly suspicious.
He hit her before yesterday evening. His Eminence Piaggi can testify to that fact.
Ah, very interesting. Anything else?
I believe there's enough here to prove his guilt.
Very well. I'll share your conclusion with Gregory, and then I shall take care of everything from now on. Given the eminent guests and the important political issues involved, I trust you will leave me to conclude the case.
Ya está, hemos puesto ya que Espero porque es que no me daba opción. Está mirando el mapa y no...
It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
When I first came here, I wasn't that worried. In the past, my mother has taken a few liberties during her missions, including disappearing for several days on end.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the cannon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him, because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me.
No, a ver. ¿Por qué ayudar a un teniente? Mi madre vendía armas.
Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having the support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play. And I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
She was looking for someone.
What do you mean?
In Paris, we were working on a smuggling case to do with occult objects. We had just arrested a dealer who intended to go to you to meet a buyer. My mother was here to find out to whom he intended to sell his stolen treasure.
Oh. What was the name of your dealer?
¿Cómo se llama el contrabandista? Pues la verdad es que ahí me pilla. Es decir, de los que hemos visto, a ver cuál puede ser de los que hemos visto. Es que yo creo que era un nombre germánico, no lo sé.
I can't remember exactly. Von something or other.
Von Wollner?
No, not your friend Mr. Von Wollner.
There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, Why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Maybe she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
¿De qué hablan cuando estaban
You seem
juntos?
to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we liked to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jassy, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
Ah, yes. His famous cotton gin. It was supposed to revolutionize cotton production in the United States.
It will revolutionize the world, Louis. The potential of this invention is much greater. Tomorrow, all industries will be switching to simple but large-scale production. Of that, I'm sure.
I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the Third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Mother lulled my childhood with tales of the Crusades. How Richard the Lionheart and Philip Augustus had to battle it out to achieve their ends. And how Guy de Lusignan, having broken his word, launched the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Oh, I see Sarah's lessons have inspired new enthusiasts. Good on you, because not everyone can claim they know as much at your age. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on. Emily has a twin sister who knew my mother? What's she playing at, goddammit? That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that? Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation. Until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Vale.
Thank you. The room was just opposite Mortimer's study.
Vale, vamos a ver. Vale, es esta habitación, por lo que veo.
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Dante's Paradise.
Raise your head and be reassured. What is this disc? Oh, that reminds me of the ones my mother collects. It's magnetic.
Cogerlo.
Carmelite water. There are burnt papers in the chimney.
Vaya, hombre.
There's a legible fragment left.
Oh, y otra vez sin querer.
I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Vale, pues esto básicamente es eso. Es decir, al parecer la madre tenía un tío que le seguía, pero no sabía cómo cómo hacer las cosas.
St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio.
Vale, y aquí
The door appears to be locked on the other side. I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound.
fuerza la cerradura, ya está.
It's open. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. No, what does that mean?
Pensar en el código secreto.
So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe?
Vale, obviamente eso ya no puede ser. Salir. Vale, aquí hay algo más. Agua del Carmen, puede ser o abrojo. Abrojo.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Pliny. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. St. John, painted by Guido Rini. St. John is known as the youngest of Christ's apostles. Well, we often give credit to St. John for having written about the apocalypse in the last book of the Bible. The New Testament.
¿Esto qué es? Vale, esto. Y aquí me pillas. A ver. Vamos a ver. De lo que han dicho antes, no es nada. Es decir, de lo que hemos visto en el documento de la tía esta, no aparece nada de esto, creo.
I guess I'll just come back later.
A ver, vamos a ver. Tiene que haber algo por aquí que nos dejemos.
The chest with the occult symbol representing air.
El Isidro. Vale, es decir, lo que estoy mirando yo es... Vale, pues algo aquí que no se nos escapa, es decir... A ver. No hay nada aquí. A ver.
Honor thy father and thy mother, as this is the first commandment. In him God has chosen us before the foundation of the world, that we may be holy and blameless before him. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
A ver, es que por lo que hemos visto, los capítulos, según la nota, eran 12, 10. Pero... No, es esto, es que no lo sé. Es que está todo muy introvertido en la nota. Una de aquí tiene que ser. Y creo que esta es la más... Esto es.
The writing, it's not my mother's. S. I I found the book in your effects. I've concealed it where no one can get their hands on it. I can assure you, awaiting your instructions, I will hear your reply like he who hears the angel. Hears the angel? What does that mean? Oh, it's probably the place where she was expecting to get the location of the next note. St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel. S. I found the book in your effects. I've concealed it where no one can get their hands on it. I can assure you, awaiting your instructions, I will hear your reply like he who hears the angel. Hears the angel? What does that mean? Oh, it's probably the place where she was expecting to get the location of the next note. Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe?
Dante's Paradise.
Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays. St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come? Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. A fierce opponent of the first Christians,
St. Paul is suddenly struck by the call of Jesus Christ and converts. It's the best known conversion in Christian history, which teaches us that even enemies of Christ can be saved, and even become his greatest apostles after finding faith. From what I can recall, the account of his conversion can be found in the epistles to the Galatians, the Philippians, the Corinthians, and the Acts of the Apostles. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. Drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
A ver.
Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the Apostles by Guido Reni. Amber crystals. A byzant from the Byzantine Empire, a coin often used during the St. Louis era.
No entiendo, es decir, segundo, pregunto al que está viéndome en esto, en Hangouts.
I say then, Have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Oh, wait. A note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here. What does it say? Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative. Awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle. What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that? But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Here's a message. There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's see tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul. I guess I'll just come back later. There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean? It must be the group of pilgrims mentioned from before. I guess maybe the city of Corinth is a reference to the epistle from Corinthians in the Bible. Then came together unto him the Pharisees, and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. And so it was that, while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel. There's something else behind this painting. It says half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean? Take heed that ye practice your justice before men, to be seen differently by them. Otherwise, ye shall have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Now, therefore, there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law with one another. Why do ye not rather suffer injustice?
Es que no lo sé, porque dice en el cuadro la mitad de 12-14.
Here's a message. It is of paramount
¿Es esto?
importance.
Dice la mitad de 12-14, 12-14, la mitad de 12-6, 7, artículo 6, versículo 7. Por eso por lo que...
In the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark, who will reveal the answer to them. And that first group of pilgrims, how many are there now? If I refer to the chapter I'm reading at the moment, 6.
Espero confirmación a su izquierda. Es que lo estoy leyendo detenidamente. Espero confirmación a su izquierda en la compañía de los peregrinos que lo acompañan. A Pablo. Pablo tenía... A ver... Creo que es 18.
There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh after God.
18. Voy a poner la sepa que lo vea bien, porque yo tampoco lo veo bien. No. No. No, hombre, me he equivocado. Me cago en 10. A leche. 18.
And he became very hungry and would have eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance. Hey,
vale, perfecto.
There's a note here. A message from Mother in reply to E. We must leave urgently, but first I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare. Watch out for Volner. He figured out I was avoiding him. Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. Stand ready. For now, let's cease all communication until we meet. Take care of yourself. I suppose this must be the last message. What happened afterward? If it's what I suspect, I fear the worst. What did Mother mean by, I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare? I must go beyond the nightmare. What does she mean by that? Guessing it's a metaphor. I need to figure out what this means. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious.
Está acostado, telita. Telita, telita.
It's time I went
Vamos
back
para abajo, a
and
ver.
joined everyone in the small salon.
You are expected in the small salon, sir.
Emily, I must speak to you.
What's the matter, Louis? About last night, I'm guessing.
Sadly...
Vale, vamos a ver, ¿de qué quiero hablar?
No. Even if I'd like to Alas. There are more pressing matters. I have news about your sister.
What have you found out?
Look, I've started piecing together the events leading up to my mother's disappearance and your sister's. Did my mother know about your secret?
Yes, even though I belong to the English chapter, her rank in the Order gives her access to a good deal of personal information.
It must have been Emma I saw in my vision. I was given to understand that my mother and your sister bonded during their stay. If Mother's really killed her sister, I'd better find her by myself. They say they spent a lot of time together. They got along well.
Oh, really? Do you think your mother liked Duchess Hillsborough?
Of course she did. After all, she's your sister. Well, we'll find them, Emily. Trust me. Should I speak to her about my vision? If what I saw is true, she might want to take revenge.
A ver, difícil decisión. Es que es una edición difícil porque si se lo cuento, tal, si no, yo creo mejor quedarnos callados, no habría que decírselo.
Better keep that to myself for the time being.
Come, Louis. They're waiting for us.
You will pay dearly, Peru. I'm sure you were involved somewhere along the line.
That's right. Pretend you don't know. One piece of advice. Don't travel through France on your way back, or it'll cost you dearly.
Calm now, my friends. Let's calm down. Everyone seems to be a little unnecessarily heated. Don't forget where you are, please.
What's going on here exactly?
Sir Gregory called us together to introduce the last guest.
But hardly had we arrived when he set upon Monsieur Peru.
And what has Mr. Peru done to once again provoke someone's anger?
We don't really know just yet.
I get the feeling it won't be long before it gets out.
How could you dare do such a thing? Dios mío, you are all out of your minds!
Really, Duke Manuel? What made you kick up such a fuss?
What? Have you not heard? Well, let me inform you that yesterday morning at 10:22 a.m. precisely, in the middle of the Place de la Révolution in Paris, by decree of the National Convention which Monsieur Peru works for, King Louis was guillotined.
What?
The King of France is dead, gentlemen. Our monarchies are in danger. I have said it before. How dare they?
Oh dear.
Oh, as if...
Gracious.
Friends, let us calm down.
Don't pretend to be surprised. He got a fair trial.
Ridiculous! Bastard! He was sentenced to death by 361 votes to 360. You beheaded a king for one vote! Is that your democracy?
What an obnoxious act. Until this, anything was possible. This political coup will have grave consequences.
France is lost.
Gentlemen, please, let us take a step back a moment.
In the name of holiness. He was the highest representative of God in France, Emily.
Gentlemen, Duchess, we're all among people of reputable company here. We should be able to manage the conflicts of our nations in a respectful and orderly manner.
I fully agree with you, sir.
But
That's enough, sir.
with whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
Louis Maras de Richet.
Are you related to Sarah de Richet?
Sarah is his mother, Duke. Gentlemen, this news affects us all, but I must ask you to remain calm. It's not the first time history has taken us by surprise. Let's ensure that our respective countries are allowed to respond appropriately to this news.
Oh, rest assured. The response will not fall short, my friend.
Good for you. Well, Your Grace, here I was preparing to introduce you as is proper, and you've beaten me to it. I'm delighted that we are all together at last. Our meeting will therefore be able to kick off shortly. I have just a few more little preparations to take care of before you all find out the reason for your presence here. In the meantime, I shall leave you to get to know one another. When you hear the bell, please proceed to the conclave room on my left, behind that door. I'll see you later.
Could you spare a moment, please, sir?
I'm glad you asked. I want to talk to you too. Of course.
I heard about your mother's disappearance.
He looks concerned. I don't know why, but I doubt it's from sympathy alone. Well, let's see what he wants from me.
Any news of her? Have you found her, maybe?
To hear you speak, you seem to know my mother well.
Not really. We met for the first time on this very spot some weeks back. We had a very pleasant discussion. She's an exceptionally learned lady with a good head for business. No need for me to tell you that.
I agree.
Did she tell you about our arrangement?
Aye.
Absolutely, but I was hoping that you could tell me more about it.
Well, she was planning to sell me a very old book. I will make no secret of the fact that I am passionate about the subject. And when Sarah spoke to me about it, her account literally had me enthralled. I can think of nothing else since. You might have come across some old books in her belongings, perhaps?
Parece ser.
As my mother's got so many old books, I'm afraid I won't be able to...
Oh, it's easy. You can't mistake this one. It's an ancient grimoire, composed of 7 parts. Each one is closed under lock and key. It was made in such a way that if someone tried to tamper with it, the sheets would be permanently tarnished. If you find it, you mustn't tamper with it. You see?
That's unusual. Unfortunately, that doesn't ring a bell. I'll look again, but I wouldn't get my hopes up. You seem very upset. Is it so important to you, this book?
Well, it's the search of a lifetime. What can I say? Every time I move closer to it, it seems to slip away at the last minute. I was very surprised to learn that your mother had it in her possession. I thought it was with a certain von Borchardt in Paris. Do you know him?
Indeed. One of your close friends?
No, not really, but we were close once. Precisely over the case that concerns us now, because he claimed to have the book I'm looking for.
Another dishonest person. What can you say? Can't trust anyone these days, huh?
No, you can't.
I hope I've been able to satisfy your curiosity, Mr. von Wollner, and that you succeed in finding what you're looking for.
Oh, and so do I.
And now, what if you told me who you really are working for, instead of keeping up this pretense?
I beg your pardon?
We both know what you're looking for, von Wollner. You're the one who von Borchardt was planning to sell it to.
For centuries, all those who have come into contact with the Al-Azif have bitterly regretted it, Monsieur de Richet. You are playing a dangerous game. Please know that I am working for someone who does not appreciate anyone poking around in his business.
Let me guess.
A ver, buena pregunta. Esto hay que ver. A ver, de todos los que han hablado, así han hablado varios de este tema. Entonces yo creo que el único que es... Es decir, yo creo que es el C. Gregory. Sí, Gregory, yo creo que es, chicos. Es decir, lo estoy pensando, pero es que Mortimer no creo que sea. Y Rey de Prusia tampoco.
It's Sir Gregory.
Correct. You ought to know then. He is not a man who likes to be duped. You are walking on thin ice, sir.
Ah, estúpido este hombre.
Honey, I couldn't have hoped for better. There's a pattern with 5 circles on this chest.
Pues lo forzamos como podemos.
I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later. Hey, these look chronicles of the Amber Princes. As I recall, Dorkin was my favorite character.
Ahora con este hombre.
Monsieur Bonaparte, may I speak with you a moment?
Oui, oui.
What do you think of Duke Godoy?
Well, I'd rather not express any opinion of him.
Why is that?
His reputation is enough for me.
There are some rumors about his loose morals.
Juste, monsieur. Add to that his devouring ambition, if you want my opinion. Playing at lover boy rather than gaining merit for his career. It's a disgrace for any soldier.
I understand your point of view. Well, I'll be leaving you now. Shall we meet up again later?
Wait, monsieur. Any news of your mother?
Unfortunately not, no.
I hope to speak with her about my deal before I leave. Let me know if you find her. À plus tard, monsieur.
Va a ser por aquí. ¿No? No. Pues entonces ¿dónde tengo que ir? No entiendo.
Ah, Louis. Just the man. Good Lord. How did the king come to be executed? I would think that the order would have intervened.
Your Eminence, I haven't been following the case. I'm sure that the Order did everything in its power. Unfortunately, you know the situation in Paris, and, well, it's chaotic at best. Anything can happen in those revolutionary tribunals.
The king is the official representative of God on earth, my son.
Your Eminence, France has become a secular state. The king was just another citizen to them. He refused to admit his errors, looked down upon them, and attempted to escape. What did he expect?
France has lost all reason, Louis.
I invite you to speak about it with my mother as soon as she reappears.
Is there any news of her?
Well, I hope it won't be long before I find her, Your Eminence.
Now you wanted to speak to me.
No.
Thank you for everything, Your Eminence. I shan't take up any more of your time.
You are
espérate, a ver si sabe este hombre algo sobre la pesadilla. Que he visto ahí pesadilla y a lo mejor sabe algo.
Now you wanted to speak to me.
If I say the nightmare to you, does it make you think of anything?
Your question is strange, my son. Difficult to say. Could you at least tell me a little more about the context?
Think of a place and tell me the first thing that comes into your mind when I say the nightmare.
Let me think. I'd say Lord Mortimer's favorite painting on the wall behind his desk. You know, that painting caused quite a stir when it was exhibited. It is titled The Nightmare, and it shows a woman lying down with a creature sitting on her. And in the background, a horse. I don't know if it will be of any help, but I can't think of anything else.
You never know. Thank you for that, though, Your Eminence. I gotta go and see it just in case, though. Thank you for everything, Your Eminence. I shan't take up any more of your time.
You are welcome, my son. I will be seeing you, Louis.
No, el estudio de Mortimer. Va, pues me sigue dejando avanzar, así que sigo avanzando. Aquí hay un libro.
Petrus, the Miller brothers. Mother expressly forbade me from reading it.
Vale, vamos a ver. A ver, estamos aquí donde estuvimos la otra vez. Esto ya lo hicimos, lo de Medusa y compañía.
Ah, François Ier. Amber crystals.
Y si sigo por aquí, esto ya no lo sé, pues ya por aquí no llega.
There's the alchemical symbol of the earth on the lid.
Agua del Carmen, ni tan mal. La jalea real no puedo tenerla siempre hasta arriba. Vale. Aquí cae. No podemos entrar. Pero aquí sí. ¿No? O tampoco. Ah, sí, aquí sí. Y aquí llegamos a las habitaciones, vale.
So, what did my mother mean by going beyond the nightmare?
Aquí no hay ni Cristo, así que podemos ahora revisarle a este pavo todo lo que queramos.
Let's take a closer look.
¿Esto qué es?
Dark chocolate beans. Very bitter. They're greatly prized in high society.
Vale.
It's a book on the history of the Crusades. I don't think it has any connection with my research.
Esto parece el Olimpo, tío. Pues cojo también de esto.
Might come in handy.
Leviatán. Una moneda. Esto ya tiene suficiente.
Book of the Mortimer family.
A ver.
The nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781. Ah, this must be what my mother was talking about. I just need to find out what she meant by go beyond. Hey, looks like it's mounted on rails on each side. It should lift up, I think.
Vale.
A mechanism somewhere.
Es decir, por aquí, ¿no?
No, what have we got here? Well, it looks like a model of a lock. It's if Mortimer is fond of complicated things sometimes. Aha! I found it. Oh, what on earth is this? A ring lock now? Great. That's all I needed.
No, vamos a ver qué hay por aquí. Vale, puedo interactuar con el pájaro. A ver,
Sarah Deriche? Waldo, you know Sarah? Sarah Deriche? Waldo, you know Sarah? What? Repeat that, Waldo. Sarah? What about Sarah? Good God, what's been happening here?
Vale.
Tell me the door code. Here I am talking to a bird. Shame on me.
Ya cojo otra cereza. Que solo sabe el código, el pájaro este. No, no puedo, pues chocolate le doy a tomar por saco.
A mina bird.
Dale de comer al pájaro. Chocolate. Oh my.
Oh, what have I done? It looks like I've killed him. Oh shit. I better not hang around.
Vale, aquí no puede ser tan fácil, es decir. A ver. Según decían antes.
It's a complex mechanism. Looks like the third ring is a bit seized up. Gets stuck on number 9.
Vale. Correcto.
Open sesame.
Tío, si se atacan en 9, es decir. Por lógica yo creo que tendría que ser algo así. ¿Y esto qué es? ¿Qué tiene este hombre que metió?
Let's see what you've been hiding, Lord Mortimer.
Vale, vamos a ver todo lo de aquí. A ver. Vale, esto habla del tío este que trajo a la mujer esta aquí.
By Guillaume Trimore. He says, it is possible to drill an idea into someone by constant daily repetition until the mind gives... This is my mother's writing. I've picked up her trail. What is she up to? Obviously she wants to lure Mortimer somewhere, but where? The only clue she's left for Mortimer is his stone sword. It must be intentional. It looks like a decorative sword, like from a statue, for example. And judging by the state of it, I'm guessing it's been left outside for a long time. I have absolutely got to find out where it came from. It's locked.
Vale.
A fine-looking map of the Orient, indeed.
Madre en China y tú. Estados Unidos. América.
This shows the forces present in America. Weakness of the Human Psyche by Guillaume Trimore. Some goat skulls, chicken legs. Now we all know what that's for. I'm a little surprised at Mortimer. I didn't seem as the type to be organizing little pagan parties, invoking occult powers, and dancing naked under the... 3 rusty old nails. They're about 20 centimeters long. Some goat skulls, chicken legs. Now we all know what that's for. Look, a pack of tarot cards. Has he been reading the cards? Mortimer? That would surprise me. It is a typical draw on a line that answers a specific question. To the left, temperance. That announces a reward for one who patiently waits before taking any action. And in the middle, the chariot, which symbolizes triumph and business success. To the right, the emperor evokes a future full of power and stability.
Vale, esto lo hemos visto ya. Un libro.
Something strange about this table. The Little Surgeon's Perfect Collection. What kind of experiments does Mortimer carry out here? It's a dissection table. So Mortimer does autopsies. Here on his desert island. But who was he doing autopsies on then? Looks like obsidian or onyx. Must weigh a ton. These are feathers. Pigeon, probably. A skeleton by the name of Gustav, if the plaque on the plinth is anything to go by. Mortimer's given a name to his anatomy skeleton. That's morbid. That must be for writing the homing pigeon messages. An iron mask. I wonder who it's for.
Permalite water will give me a little reprieve.
¿Qué tiene ahí? Tiene cabezas de peña metidas.
A chest with a motif representing the alchemical symbol of fire.
Voy a usar la llave.
A table of alchemical elements.
Am I seeing things, or is that an actual Von Leeuwenhoek microscope? Incredible. Mortimer really is at the cutting edge of science. Even at the Order, it took us ages to get one of those.
Preservation using formaldehyde.
Just as disgusting as ever.
A table of alchemical elements. So, Lord Mortimer also studies alchemy? It's locked. It's locked.
Oh,
shit.
How am I gonna get out of here now?
Vale, en modo te ponías 94-99. Vamos a poner eso. Hablaba del el código 94-99, pero no sé si será aquí. Es decir, como son 4 dígitos, imagino que sí.
This looks like the same mechanism as the one on the other side. The mechanism passes through the wall. The wheels are the same on both sides. Chances are the combination I used on the other side works on this side too. Looks too easy. Could be a trap.
A ver. Vamos a poner al revés el número. Como está al revés.
This looks like the same mechanism as the one on the other side.
Vale, funciona. ¿Qué piensa? Digo, no, en el otro lado, obviamente a lo mejor es del revés.
Well, better not dwell on it then.
Bueno, les he hecho una liada aquí a estos. Ocultismo, Inquisición. Este debe ser la de... Este mola. Subo muchas cosas. ¿Qué cojones? No me pone número, me pone ahí un chino ahí. 3
This
puntos
note is about a
suspensivos.
meeting with Lord Mortimer. There's no doubt about it. Alright, I need to find out where the sword that came with it's from in order to find Mother.
You're joking, I hope. Don't tell me you've done that.
Really? How do you expect me to guess?
No lo sé,
For
thank you.
God's sake, just ask them.
Pues es buena pregunta.
We must.
Ya estoy aquí, chicos, que estaba hablando por teléfono, me habían llamado. ¿De dónde eres tú? Que tienes unas letras muy raras. Tienes ahí unas letras súper raras del usuario.
Absolutely inform Sir Gregory. How long has he been trying to collect all the spears?
I must have brought him the first one 20-odd years ago.
Do you know if he has managed to get the original?
Well, in any case, he's got all the ones we had at the Vatican. He made me replace them with copies. But I don't understand your reaction. I'm sure it is nothing serious.
Aha. I can see very well you do not understand. You have done nothing less than sign our death warrants, and still you don't understand.
Someone is listening.
What? Monsieur de Richet, why not join us rather than find yourself eavesdropping?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Of course you didn't. So, my son, what can we do for you?
I was wondering if you might have seen an object like this, here, at the manor.
What are you playing at, de Richet?
I'm afraid I can't help you, my son. Ask someone who knows the manor better than I do. One of the servants, for example. One of them is bound to help you.
Thank you for your advice, Your Eminence. I didn't mean to spy on you, but you caught my attention. Have you brought spears as well, then?
What? Did Mortimer ask you to bring him holy spears too?
Yes, but I thought I was the only one. How many of them have you brought, then?
18 in all. Any relic even remotely to do with them, in fact.
18 spears? How many of them exist in all?
No one knows. Especially as there is only one authentic one, of course. That all adds to the mystery, don't you think?
Well, please leave us, monsieur. His Eminence and I wish to finish our discussion alone.
Va, tampoco nos han dicho mucho. Vale, y ahora sí me piro. Oye, esto es lo que nos han dicho el cura, pero a ver si esto
What can I do
saben.
for you, sir? I am at your service day and night, sir.
A ver, que la
Could you
espada.
tell me where this sword comes from, please?
Certainly, sir. How did such a sword come into sir's hands?
Listen, my good man, I'd gladly stand here discussing matters all day long, but I'm terribly pressed for time. Your petty logistical concerns are of no interest to me. I asked you a question, and I'm still waiting for an answer.
Do please excuse me, sir. If I were sir, I would look in the garden. This sword looks like it's from the garden statues.
And how can I get into the garden?
There are two ways, sir. The first way to get to the garden is by the hall, between the conference room and the portrait gallery. The second way is directly through the portrait gallery. Sir would just have to go out by the French windows.
Thank you, my good man.
Bueno, nos han dicho que tenemos que ir por ahí. Nada más. Habrá que subir.
leave us now.
Por aquí no puedo salir. No. A ver, este sí me deja salir.
I am sorry, sir, but the conference room is under preparation and is consequently inaccessible to guests. I am sorry, sir, but the conference room is under preparation and is consequently inaccessible to guests.
Vale, entonces tengo que ir por otro lado. Porque este es un subnormal que no me deja pasar. Vamos por aquí, llegamos a la galería de arte, ¿no? Creo.
Petrus, the Miller brothers. Mother expressly forbade me from reading it.
Esta sala de aquí es la de la galería de arte, creo. Y ahora por aquí puedo salir, si no me equivoco. Eso es, sí.
The sword probably came from this garden, but what could it have been used for?
Y este de aquí.
Well, Monsieur de Richet, what brings you here?
To tell the truth, I was wondering the same thing about you.
It's rare for guests to wander about in the garden. I wanted to be alone for 5 minutes.
You look worried.
Worried? No. Resolved would be a more exact term.
Resolved to do what?
What's the point in answering? You wouldn't believe me anyway. I'll be leaving now because whatever it is you're up to, I do not want to know. Be seeing you.
Tell me, aren't you even curious?
Curiosity killed the cat, Monsieur de Richet. I admit, I may have judged you wrongly. Watching you seek out Mortimer's little secrets might even be amusing, if I didn't already know the consequences. See you later.
What happened to you, monsieur?
It's time for me to assume the consequences of my choices. I've sold my soul to the devil. Now it's time to pay.
Pues antes se la pira la pizza o no sé. No entiendo.
Ariadne. In Greek mythology, she helped Theseus get through the labyrinth. Looks like there's a crack in the region of the heart. If I recall the Iliad, Ariadne is none other than the daughter of Minos and Pasiphae. She was in love with Theseus and helped him in his quest to kill the Minotaur in return for a promise of marriage if he defeated the monster. She gave him a reel of thread so that he could find his way back through the labyrinth, which was famous for being unsolvable. But once the beast was slain, the gallant was quick to abandon her on an island. Turns out heroes are not what they once were.
Vale. Vamos a seguir el hilo. ¿Qué pasa por detrás?
Golden elixir.
Vale, el hilo pasa por ahí. Y ahora, mira una moneda. Una dracma, esas son las que salen en Assassin's Creed Origins. Bueno, antes de seguir por ahí voy a mirar a ver si hay algo por aquí que nos dejemos.
Daedalus.
Dédalo.
He's the architect of the labyrinth, and if I'm not mistaken, he's also the father of Icarus.
Vale.
Minos.
Minos.
Son of Zeus and Europa. If I remember correctly, he was the king of Crete. Married to Pasiphae, he had many children, including the famous Ariadne, whom history remembers for her thread. Hey, there's a crack in that statue. The crack is in the region of the heart.
Vale, creo que era Minos el que le iba en el corazón. Pues no pasa nada, ¿no? Es decir... ¿Ha cambiado algo?
I wonder what this kiosk is doing in the middle of the garden. Too cramped to be able to do much. Well, there must be something going on there. What is that? It's like a sort of opening mechanism. Knowing Mortimer, I bet it's booby-trapped. There's a little hole at the fingers. Pretty sure if I get it wrong, I'll get pricked. Damn you, Mortimer. Reminds me of traps I studied in Egyptian tombs.
Yo creo que está bien, vamos. El corazón de Minos es el que en la teoría griega era el que al pulsar, es decir, le mataron con la espada de... que tenía, vamos, el... ¿ves? Sí, eso era. Y ahora está pasando algo otra vez, está viendo algo.
Again?
¿Qué estará viendo ahora este muchacho?
You can't be serious, Manuel. You know that's not going to happen.
You must leave me alone now. I have agreed to everything. Even to...
Agreed? I wasn't aware you had a choice.
What's going on here?
What now? What else must I do to win back my freedom?
Obey me. Now get out!
What was that? That's the third time in 3 days. Let's see if you're in there, Mother.
Ostras.
Bandages. Someone's been patching themselves up. Looks like my mother took advantage of being in hiding to change her bandages, huh? This is silk. She must have used her own clothes. These bandages are pretty basic. She'll be lucky if she doesn't get an infection. There are patches where the blood isn't totally clotted. That's a good sign, right? She changed them recently, which proves she's still looking after herself and still believes in her chances. Well, I'd love to tell her to keep hanging in there.
Vale. Estuvierais.
Damn it, Mother. Now what's happened?
Don't move!
Bueno,
Wait,
me van a
I'm not
matar.
armed.
Who are you?
Good God, Mother, what have you...
Tell me who you are.
Ay, va a ser su madre. Vale. Esto me gustaría subirlo por un lado y por otro. Eso estaría bien también. Vale, pues hasta aquí este episodio, chicos. Igual que el anterior, pues para la semana que viene intentaré subir otro capítulo más. Así que nada, espero que os haya gustado. Darle a like, compartid, suscribiros y en el próximo vídeo nos vemos con este tercer capítulo de este gran juegazo que nos va a dejar esta semana con la intriga. Bueno, os voy a dejar yo con la intriga de qué pasará. Así que bueno, un besazo, un saludo y adiós. Ya sabéis, si os ha gustado darle un like y compartir. Así que nos vemos en el próximo vídeo. Adiós.